Good evening and welcome to Knoxville, Iowa, home to the Knoxville Raceway. Traditionally brought to you the Knoxville Nationals in the World of Outlaws series, but tonight it'll host to the KBueno Racing Truck Series action here for race number 7 on our schedule. Glad that you can be a part of us on this Monday night here, September 22nd, to what is going to be a very special event. Been so long since the Dirt has seen any kind of action on this channel, on this page, and I'm excited to be joined alongside of Nate Polite for what is surely going to be a really good event. And Nate, dirt racing, that is something that is not necessarily my area of expertise, and I would assume maybe not yours as well, but it's nonetheless going to be a really interesting time and really fun to see these drivers navigate around Knoxville Raceway.
We're gonna be slinging some mud all over the show here tonight. We got 20-something truckers ready to do battle at one of the most historic dirt tracks in the country, Francisco. It's gonna be a great watch.
It is going to be a great watch. We'll have a blast up here just watching these drivers try to navigate around the racetrack. They're about to get ready to qualify, but whilst we are handling everything behind the scenes, Nate, we were just talking about how this is race number 7 on the schedule, and you're looking at it there, and we're basically completing the first half of the entirety of the season already as we work our way past Knoxville here tonight. We'll just have 3 events waiting between now and once the season comes to or the regular season comes to a close over at the Auto Clip Speedway come October 13th. So we're very quickly approaching playoff conversations.
Yeah, it's getting really, really close. And we talk about it every week. Who is gonna be the guys that can go ahead and make a huge jump in the standings? Last week it was Gabe Cazola. He picked up a third place finish. He jumped up, I think it was 7 spots in the points. We're going to see who can do that. It's another unique track. It's what I've been talking about week after week with a unique track last week in Montreal, this week in Knoxville. It's a different type of track. Different types of skill sets are going to be at the forefront here tonight. It's going to be a great watch. See if anybody that's really far below the cutoff line can make that jump in.
And speaking of the cut line, there's a look at your points when you consider the points leader in Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who was able to get it after the win last week at Montreal. He jumped up ahead of Nicholas Bauman, Duncan Fall, Justin Rott, and Alexander Schumacher, who all were in a close fight on their own right. But it is still extremely tight. Jurgensmeyer only has a 5-point advantage over Nicholas Bauman entering tonight's showdown here, Nate. So that means when you consider the greater portion of your top 5 in points, that is only 7 points that separate 1 through 5. So the regular season championship still well up for grabs within your top 5. But then you look down towards that cut line of Craig Parks, Mikey Neal, Tony Kivitt, Colin Forrester, Craig Lautenslager. There's numerous drivers that are battling to get within those last couple of spots, and then some that are probably a little bit further down the point standings that all it could take is a couple of wins or a couple of really good runs to really shoot them up the points order.
Yeah, and looking at a little further list that I've got here, 15th on up is within at least 10 points of the cutoff line. 15th is Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who we know what he is capable of when he shows up to the racetrack. He's minus 8 points. Gabe Cazola minus 8 points. Those two not pictured on your screen right now. But what really I want to look a little further down this list because, like I said, this is a strange racetrack. I know there's some drivers that are looking forward to this. Last week, it was Gabe Cazola who jumped 7 spots from 21st off of even my extended list all the way to being just 8 points out of the playoffs. Who do we think can do that tonight? That's going to be a huge storyline.
And a huge storyline to add on to that list of dilemmas that, at least for the time being, currently not in the session, include the number 78 to 71, the number 55 of Tony Kivitt. Actually, he is in the session, so is the 53 of Craig Parks. So a good number of drivers do not appear to that are close to that cut line do not appear to be in the session. So it could play a role in terms of how things wind up through now and the end of the night. At least critically, Colin Forrester and Craig Lautenslager were just a handful of points behind, which could play into the role of at least Gabe Cazola and Ethan Fonseca being the immediate group of drivers close enough to take advantage of this opportunity. But while we still have a chance to kind of talk about the Knoxville Raceway, we have a chance. Let's talk about the racetrack. Let's go over here to our KBRN track maps. You can get a look at this racetrack based out of Knoxville, Iowa, all the way in the Midwest. It is just half-mile in length, and that opening date, 1878, that is extremely old.
It is 7 degrees of banking around this muddy oval in the middle of the Midwest, middle of the flyover states, as they as they're called sometimes, but this is a destination for you to fly to instead of just over.
Absolutely. A lot of people do make their way out here to Iowa to get a look at the World of Outlaws and Sprint Car Championship events here for the Knoxville Nationals. While we have a chance, let's also try and give you what it's like to go on board here from the Knoxville Raceway. So here's a look at a lap that I was able to provide here, just kind of going around the racetrack. What do you make of this, Nate?
Well, this is what you want to see. The back end stepped out. That's how you make speed on a dirt track. It's very different to anything else that we go to because you're wrecking loose the entire time. Even on corner entry, the back end's way stepped out. You notice you're not going to the bottom. You're going to be up top near the cushion. It's all sorts of places for you to make pace. I mean, how many trucks do you think you could fit down there? 6, 7? A lot could go side by side into a corner. It's going to be interesting to see which line becomes dominant and which trucks can hang on to the dirt the best.
And at any point, you can find some grip, whether it is up top or down at the bottom. It's just about how you go about these corners, and it's a lot of playing around with the throttle and wheel, making sure that you can get as straight of an exit as possible. And that's going to be very tricky. Not many drivers can do that too well, and we're going to see who's able to navigate that the best as possible, as right now, as it seems, qualifying is approaching its end, so we're getting ready almost to start our heat events. And while we have an opportunity, let's talk about how our heats will be done tonight. We have two 15-lap heat events that'll be determining our starting grid for the main race. Qualifying right now setting who gets into what field. It appears we have 22 trucks, so we'll have 11. The inside row, or the odd number cars, will be on the first event, and then the second heat will feature those on the even numbered side. So your heat 1 will set your inside lane, and your heat 2 will settle your outside lane for the 50 lap main that awaits for us here tonight. And with that, we're gonna get ready to head on down to the grid for our first heat event in tonight's showdown, where on the pole it is going to be Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. He'll set the fastest lap of the qualifying times. He'll set a. Actually, it doesn't look like it's giving me the lap time right now, so we'll try to change that up. But it does show him first. There you see the 00 lining up on the front. And alongside him is going to be the number 76 of Justin Roth. Third will go to Duncan Fall. With fourth place, Mikey Neal alongside him in the number 8 machine. Chris Progar will start top 5 in this heat with Gabe Cazzola alongside him in the 6th spot. Alexander Schumacher will be rolling off in 7th. 8th place going to Keelan Belsha. 9th will go to Charlie Byer. He won't be race control. He'll be attempting the dirt race here tonight from his number 52 machine. Christopher Bishop will be in the 10th place spot, and Nicholas Bowen will be the last starter in 11th of heat number 1, Nate.
Going to be an exciting race. 3 races in one. 3 races in one broadcast. How about that, Francisco? A lot of good stuff in store for our fans tonight.
Gonna be a lot of fun, and I know there's some people that probably would say that dirt is probably the more pure form of racing. That's always a speculation within the racing community at large, is which type of which type of racing would you consider the best form? Some consider stock cars, others consider open wheels, some consider dirt. I won't toss my opinion onto that ring. It could get very controversial at times, but I will say all forms, as long as they're entertaining, I'll eat it up.
There's few things that I like more than watching colorful vehicles drive around in circles for hours on end. I don't care what they're racing on, asphalt, concrete, dirt, hay bales, steel, what have you. I don't really care what the surface is, how many turns, which way they're turning. I'm here to watch these guys drive around.
And they'll take obviously 2 pace laps around this short half-mile dirt oval to get properly acquainted with the surface before we unleash the field for the green flag in this first duel. Fuel will not be a concern for tonight in the heats and in the main, no matter what happens. So, and everybody will get an additional tire set for that main, though I don't expect many people to really bring it down pit road unless they tow for any kind of damage. And as we're half a lap away from the green, there's the 00. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer recently just took the points away. Will look to try and extend his gap going into the final 3 events, and it'll all start here in hopes of sitting on the pole for your heat number 1 win for the main tonight. As there you see into the green light, and we are underway in heat number 1. A solid start for your 00. Justin Raw tried hanging tough.
Ooh.
He'll end up spinning. That is
Around
Mikey
Neal.
Neal going for the spin, ricocheting off the number 76, who was trying to hang it on the outside of your race leader. Duncan Fall will move up into second, but it's Jonathan Jurgensmeyer continuing to lead the way, as there's Mikey Neal's downfall all the way outside the top 10.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mikey Neal there. It's a traffic jam on these restarts and on these race starts, and out in front is the 00 Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, defending winner. Gabe Cazzola, he was among the guys that was involved in a little bit of that melee. He popped the wall in the exit of turn 2 off the start of the race. And he looks to be another big points mover here today.
He's already moved up into the top 5 in this first heat, trying to see if he can make up any ground on the doubles. On the 68 in front of him was another one of those good points runners, but looking back, Chris Progar's also there trying to turn his season around, as Gabe Cazzola, who ran that good race at Montreal, can still put up some good performances in the last couple of events of the schedule to make that playoff push. And a good race here tonight where chaos can reign is all it would take for the 95 machine to have something in store, as Duncan Fall has closed the gap on Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. He may be trying to put some pressure for the top spot as he tries to sling it on the outside.
You see in both of the potential lanes in use right there. Jurgensmeyer wrapping the bottom, Foss slung it in on the outside. And as these two start to battle, it could bring the 76 back in. There you see Fogg going down to the bottom.
Oh,
Not
and look
quite
at them
a
getting
slide
glued
job.
together.
And there it is, the 76 is right back into it. Foz clear for the lead. That's probably more of a tried and true slide job from Justin Rott on Jurgensmeyer. Now he's going to try to chase down Duncan Fall. Justin Rott, he talked to a few of the drivers before this race. They all said Justin Rott was probably the favorite to win this race. And in a rare moment, I talked to Michael Walls. Instead of guaranteeing a win, he guaranteed a P2 in this one.
But trying something different than what the driver of the 7 has done, is there's the 00 sending it into the inside, trying to mount a challenge back for second place. But so far, it is the number 16 looking strong in this heat. And due to the size of the field that we have, Nate, we won't have drivers going home. The maximum field size for this main event was going to be 24. We have 22, so we're not quite at the full stage of the event, but we're almost there. But nonetheless, these heats are going to be important because track position could play a very crucial role once we get to the main, as the caution flag waves for the first time. Trouble for the number 17, Chris Progar.
Yeah, we'll take a look at what happened to Progar, but this seems like a fitting time to mention caution laps do not count, therefore no wave around, no free pass. They don't count in the heats, they don't count in the main event. Take a look at Progar. You saw him slipping and sliding on the straightaway. Tells you how difficult it is. Oh, it was Gabe Cazzola in front of him, popped up on the berm there, and then they tangled out at turn number 2, and Charlie Beyer got a piece of it as well.
And it looks like the engine went kapoof on the 17. You saw the smoke billow out, and that unfortunately is going to be the heat over the driver of Chris Progar, who I bet is really enjoying the fact that we aren't in a full field. Here's the onboard look from the driver of the 17.
You see there that the 95 just kind of mounts the berm. And that's the contact that does in 17 of Progar. Those two trucks get tangled up. It's tough. You mentioned it when the 16 and the 00 got together, that they kind of got stuck coming down the front stretch. It's kind of what happened there with Progar and Cazzola.
Yeah, it's basically kind of what happened there. They got stuck, and it was an awkward spot off the corner, and the cars will hook and turn to the right. And that's very unfortunate for the driver of the 17. He'll have to wait to the main to try and do something else in this race. Unfortunately for him, and I tell you what will also really make the 17 feel bad. It was no intentional move by Gabe whatsoever, but the fact that Gabe gets to stay up in fourth, not going to make the 17 feel better about the situation overall. Just going to be a very upsetting night, and he'll have to do his hard work in the main from the 23rd position when we get on over to the main here after this one. But we still have this race to set up. Like you mentioned, caution laps do not count, so once we take the green, it'll be 7 laps to go. And this time, Duncan Fall will be leading the charge. He'll select the inside of the front row. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer back in third. Let's see what happens in these final 7 laps as into the front straightaway we go. There's the launch by Fall. And they'll be side by side for second behind the number 16. And it's going to be very tricky to see how the grip lies, how aggressive these drivers are willing to get for that heat win. As side by side for the 4th spot goes Alexander Schumacher. As there's Mikey Neal trying to make the comeback work. He peeks to the inside momentarily of the 68. Remember, Neal had that trouble on lap number 1 after contact with Rott. And he's already driven his way back into the top 5.
Yeah, right back up past the 95 of Cazzola. We'll see how wounded the 95 truck is, but up front, it's Duncan Foss starting to run away. Mikey Neal putting the work on Alexander Schumacher for 4th. And then it's Rott and Jurgensmeyer 2nd and 3rd. But it seems pretty comfortable for Foss out front with 5 to go.
Relatively calm for the front of the field, but there's still some battles for position yet to be determined as Mikey Neal's persistent on making the inside work. Caution flag waves again. Not sure where the trouble may lie. Possibly the number 18 of Keelan Belsh appears to be slow on the track. So we'll try to figure out what happened to the Louisiana native as the caution flag waves. And that was just in time for the Mikey Neal, who was able to take the 4th spot away just as the yellow flag came out. So here's a look at what happened to the number 18. He was racing with Gabe Cazzola, and Cazzola gets sideways and then just contact with with Keelan, and then contact again, tears the left front off the 95. Unfortunately for Keelan, he went for a spin, but luckily enough, just really no damage to his race truck, unlike the 95.
And with Cazzola there, it's something that I didn't really mention in the pre-race when we took those laps around the track, but when you're sideways going everywhere, it's really easy for that truck to just step out on you completely and you spin out. So we're on board here with the 95 of Cazzola. He got loose on exit, came down into Belcher. They hit, he got sent back up the track. He tried to save it and then came back down and right reared Belcher. He said tore the left front off of that truck.
And that'll put us under our 2nd caution in heat number 1 with just about inside 5 laps to go. So there's still a bit of time remaining for drivers to try and get something done. And we'll see if Justin Rott on this restart is able to do a better job of trying to challenge for the top spot. We'll see if Jurgensmeyer is able to do anything from 3rd, because ever since that 16 took the lead, he has been relatively unchallenged. As the lights will go out on the pace car, so we're 1 lap away from the green flag. And it is possible, Nate, with this system in play, that we could end up having a 1-lap dash because there is no overtime and because the laps don't count. So I think everybody, generally speaking at the front, wants to mind their P's and Q's about being too aggressive, because if they give themselves a 1-lap dash, it is going to be very difficult to try and win.
Yeah, and a 1-lap dash would be absolutely no holds barred, especially if it were to happen in the main event. Oh, it gets exciting just thinking about it. But out front, it's Duncan Faw next to Justin Rott. The green flag flies. We're back underway.
A good jump there for Duncan Fall, but he misses up a little bit the center of the corner. There goes the 76 on the outside, but unlike the race start, he's able to hang tough, trying to see if he can mount some kind of attack on your race leader.
He gets up way, way high, much higher than the 16. Not able to get the drive off on the corner. See if he's able to set up down the inside here. He is looking. He's got a little bit of a lane with the 16 and Fogg closes him off really well, but that was a great corner from Justin Rott. Then he tags the wall a little down the backstretch.
We're going to see a lot of wall tagging as the night goes on, but the pressure still there for this heat win. And this is the difference between starting 1st and starting 3rd for your top 2. And Jonathan Jurgensmeyer may not be completely out of it yet. And we'll see in this final lap and a half if the slide job makes an appearance. And as we're working our way through 3 and 4, approaching the white flag for heat number 1, the gap is growing out front. The battle for 4th is going awry with Mikey Neal and Alexander Schumacher. And the gap sits at nearly 0.6 of a second from 1st to 2nd. And it looks like Duncan Fall will remain unchallenged through 3 and 4. No crazy attempts will be going on here today. And it's going to be Duncan Fall winning heat number 1 from Knoxville.
A very good job to drive defensively there by Duncan Thaw. And you saw Justin Rott, he was not going to the inside, but rather getting up on the cushion, ripping it's not the very outside of the racetrack, but you see where it gets dark up there. You don't want to get up in that, but right along the edge of that, there is speed. There's a little bit more throttle that you can put into the truck there. You can extend the straightaways a little more if you're up there on the cushion. Rott tried it. We'll see if that lane comes in a little bit better during the main event.
We'll see if it does. Remember, the track state for these heats starts at, I believe, 5% or 7%, and they carry over through each event, and then they reset at 15 and or 10%. I could have those numbers wrong, if you could correct me on that, Nate. But the point is, they start at a certain number, they race the heats, and then they change them again for the main event. Kind of like a real life event where you have maybe sprint cars going out at some time, and then maybe dirt stocks going out at a different time. So you get that rubber buildup, but never that evenly through the same series.
So practice started at 0%, qualifying started at 7%. This is the same track from qualifying. It carried over, and then in the feature it'll be set to 15%. But this track is going to change over the course of each of these heat races. It changed over the course of practice. It changed over the course of qualifying. And it's going to change over the course of every single lap that gets ticked away here at Knoxville. As you look at your starting lineup for heat number 2,
it looks like it has the graphic messed up for us because it includes Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who's obviously in the first heat, so it doesn't actually bring us the proper lineup for this specific heat. We'll get you that in the main once the proper order is done. But you can see on your screen, we got the number 12 of Trevor Haley on the pole for heat number 2 with Kyle Benson to his outside. A pair of Spire cars, Michael Walls, Ethan Fonseca Moreno in that second row. Kenneth Bueno will be in the 5th spot. JJ Hill in 6th, likes dirt racing. Tony Kivett will be in 7th with Jason Hastings in the number 49 in 8th. AJ Green will be in the 9th spot. Tyler Murray in 10th, and rounding out our 11 truck second heat, it'll be the number 87 of Curtis Kelly. And just like that, Nate, we're getting ready for heat number 2 here from Knoxville. The pace truck makes its way off the pit lane, and we are racing in heat number 2 from Knoxville. Trevor Haley leads them.
A really good start from Trevor Haley. Really no contest for the 38 of Benson. He's going to try to defend second as Moreno and Walls settle things out down the back straightaway.
There's a bit of a dive there from Walls to try and clear the 077. Kenneth Bueno will peek to the inside, possibly momentarily, a little bit of contact, but you're going to see that all night long. And we've already seen that so far, as you're going to see contact, as there's some more contact between the 117 and 077. That is part of dirt racing. You're going to see contact, and I think determining what is constituted as maybe unfair contact versus normal racing is going to be a very, very gray line. But for the 117, he has worked his way up into 4th, and JJ Hill looks to try and take the top 5 spot away from Moreno.
Okay, Hill gets right to the inside of Moreno. Moreno is able to wheel it out of the corner. But we go back about a lap. It was the 75 of AJ Green. He jumped the cushion that I was talking about, and he went way high up to the wall. It's so difficult to control your truck when you get up into that dirtier mud at the top of the racetrack. But we got a little battle for the lead going on. Trevor Haley and Kyle Benson.
A very fun battle for the lead between your top 2. And we'll see what kind of lines, as this gives it a great shot here of what the 38 and 12 are doing. You see some right rear damage on that 12. That's not going to affect them at all. Not here.
Absolutely not. Aerodynamics, not the biggest concern for these guys at this racetrack. Certainly not getting into the gas enough for it to matter a whole lot. They're going to be leaning and beating on each other all night. These trucks may well be destroyed. You know, it's a fun trope. I like to say that'd make a good race version. Every single truck from this race make for a great race version. They're going to be beat up. They're going to be muddy. It's going to be ugly, but it's going to be a pretty ugly.
Absolutely right. There's Kenneth Bueno closing the gap now on Michael Walls up into the 3rd spot. And I'll tell you what, not many people will take Kenneth Bueno as a dirt racer, but this goes back to what I've always said, is that Kenneth does not give himself enough credit for his ability behind the wheel. And with a solid run here in this heat, he can put himself in a really good spot in that main to go after a decent finish to try and make that playoff push. He is down the order in the standings, but with 3 races to go after tonight's events, he still has a really good opportunity to try and get at least into that 10th spot, especially knowing how tight it is and how much it can change considering our remaining tracks. A battle just outside, or just for the race lead right now, as there's the 38 of Benson, gets to the outside of Trevor Haley, and he takes the lead away.
Yeah, they're still side by side. Trevor Haley's not going to let him have it easily. He throws it all the way down into the corner. Can't quite clear the 38 of Benson. They're going to be side by side again. Look at how sideways the 12 is all the way on exit, trying to negotiate the power. There's a little bit of contact on entry right there to turn 3. Trevor Haley looks like he's got the position. It's a crossover from Benson back to the start-finish line.
And I think that's the perfect kind of contact you want to make, like that right there, because it's fair, it's part of dirt racing, and it gives you possibly some kind of leverage. But Trevor Haley handled that one beautifully. He'll have the nose out in front here at the line now with 6 laps remaining. And this could be a battle that goes down all the way to the wire in these closing laps of heat number 2, as there's some more contact, and into the wall will go Trevor Haley.
Oh, that was a not instant hit, and Haley might surrender the 3rd spot. Oh, Michael Walls hops the berm on the inside of the racetrack.
He hops the berm, he gets stuck with Kenneth Bueno. They'll try to sort that one out. The 117 will try to take over the 3rd spot, battle for 4th, or for 5th, as AJ Green and Curtis Kelly try to battle for Moreno for that 5th spot. As I believe, yeah, there we go, apologies there. But there you go, you see these tough battles going on just outside the top spot, and that contact with Trevor Haley really set around us. Look at Curtis Kelly trying to lean on the 75, gets sideways, but he saves it magnificently here now with 4 laps to go.
And it's so easy to get sideways. You saw that slide job right there from Kenneth Bueno to the inside of Michael Walls. Didn't quite work out, but they're going to be side by side, so a net gain for the 117. We'll see if he's able to hang it tough on the outside of the 7 truck here.
And that blimp view.
Or go for the crossover down the back.
Looking for the crossover. He's on the inside. We'll see if he's able to keep the gap in there. And it looks like he has the nose out in front, approaching 2 laps to go. And Ethan Fonseca Moreno's not too far back. But what I was going to say, Nate, is that blimp view really gave us a great perspective of the different lines that drivers run here on trying to make lap time around this dirt raceway. How it doesn't matter if you're all the way at the bottom like the 117 is, or pushing that cushion higher and higher throughout the night, and that might be the way to go, because look at that run Walls gets off the corner.
Huge run, and we talked about the track evolution before this heat started, and we're seeing it in real time, how much the cushion has moved up in just this 15-lap heat. The white flag flies at Knoxville for the 2nd heat.
1 lap to go, and Kyle Benson, after the drama with Trevor Haley, has pulled over to 1.5 seconds. So it'll be a relatively calm drive for the driver of the 38 from Pennsylvania. He'll take the win in heat number 2 and start outside of the front row. Kyle Benson, winner of heat number 2 here from Knoxville Raceway.
Fun couple of heats, I'll say that much.
Yeah,
reminds me of the old trope they talk about at Daytona every year. One of the duels, nothing happens, and the other duel, everything happens. We saw it here, heat 2. Some close quarters racing for sure, but it was calm, no crashes, no yellow flags in that first heat that we saw here tonight. Had a few yellow flags and a little bit more chaos, I would say.
Yeah, I think both heats were pretty entertaintive. We had some pretty good action going on from both of the heats, and I can't wait to see what this 50-lap main is to show us. We had no cautions in that 2nd heat, so if we can have a relatively clean main event, I don't see why it won't be a blast to cover this one. So while we have this 5-minute warm-up, doesn't appear we have any of our winners in a voice chat to kind of get their thoughts on what the racing has been like, but I'll drag one of our drivers in just to kind of get an idea of what we have going on. And we won't just bring anybody, we'll bring in somebody who's higher up in the point standings and had a pretty good run in that first heat. Alexander Schumacher will join us now in the booth during this warm-up. And Shuey, talk to us about what it was like racing the truck around this racetrack in its conditions during those heats, and what do you expect going towards the main?
Hey, thanks for having me. Well, number 1 was traction. I think traction is going to be the number 1 thing here. It's not about how fast you get your foot to the floor. It's how much your wheels are synced up to the ground beneath you. So traction is going to be key here. You're going to be able to get a run off the corner, set up a pass on the outside. The inside seems like the place to be is the fastest way around, but you're going to be sliding aggressively off the corner. And you got to be aware of that mound on the inside. So that middle to outside might be the place to be tonight, but you got to look out for traction, putting the throttle down gently. Uh, you know, can't be a bull in a china shop. Just got to relax here, let the truck come to you. If you can't overwork the wheel, you can't overdrive the truck. Just if you combine all those things together, it should be a really good race here, and you should have a good result. But for me personally, I'm not a dirt guy. I don't rip dirt a lot, but I've ran my fair share of 410s and one on iRacing. So I know a few things, but not with a truck. I don't really run with the trucks on iRacing on dirt. But nonetheless, I'm really excited for tonight's race. With the championship battle being super close on a track like this, you couldn't ask for a better race. So I'm looking forward to the race. Really excited for it. Hopefully, we can keep all four wheels beneath us and keep our nose clean and keep our truck healthy.
That actually was going to segue into my next question here, Shuey, is that you're in a tight points battle between the top five, all within a realistic chance of coming away with the points lead at the end of the night. So for you and your goal here from Knoxville, what are your takeaways? What are you looking to try and gain from this event as we move towards the final three races of the regular season?
Uh, it's about 7 or 8 guys, top 10 make the final race. So as long as I'm that 7 or 8 group of 7 or 8 guys at the end of the season, it's good enough for me. It's a very competitive bunch. We are all nearly have the same speed. So I'm gonna try and keep my nose clean tonight. Like I said, I don't run dirt a lot. I don't run trucks specifically on dirt, but keeping the nose clean tonight, finding the fast line, picking up good techniques, pointing your nose into the corner very well and getting your back end to step out. All those things combined will be able to have a fast truck tonight. So, uh, you know, really look forward to racing against my championship competitors. Hopefully they have a good race as well. Like I said, dirt race under the lights here, I think. I think it's under the lights. But yeah, dirt race here in Knoxville under the lights with about 4 races to go into the playoffs. You couldn't ask for it. It's going to be a fantastic race tonight, and hoping, like I said, we can pull it out, get a victory, if not a good result. Top 5, we've been really on fire. This summer has been ours, so hoping to continue that streak. If not, just have a good race, take home good points, and move on to the next race.
Appreciate the time you take with us, Shuey, and good luck in this main event going forward tonight.
Hey, thanks a lot. Take care.
That's Alexander Schumacher, driver of the number 68, looking to try and have a really solid run to continue that strong points effort. And what do you make of his points there, Nate, when talking about his season position?
It's been a phenomenal season for Alexander Schumacher. He's 5th in points, 53 clear of Tony Kvyat in 11th, so really well above the cut line. He's one of those guys, of course the focus is on making it to the playoffs, but for him it's establishing the momentum coming into the playoffs. It would take, a miracle's not the right word, but the opposite of a miracle, a disaster if you will, for Alexander Schumacher to fall out of the playoff picture here. So like he said, he's focused on continuing this summer. He didn't lie when he said it's been his. It started with that win at Rockingham, and it's carried over into just about every league that he runs. It seems like it's faster and faster every week, more and more contending races for the 68 as he is in every league. It's been a great summer for Alexander Schumacher, and that momentum staying true is going to be really beneficial for him as we creep toward the playoffs.
It's been a summer of dreams for this driver of the 68, and he hopes to turn it into a fall of success. As now we're getting ready to head into our main event here tonight, as the warm-up session has expired, and now it's time for the show here, Nate. We have the best, and we are going to have them for abreast here before our green flag here tonight, and we'll have the sunset ready here. I think we should end under the darkness, like Shu was alluding to. I was expecting that as well. But nonetheless, we have our field getting sized up and ready. So let's once again go over our results, which, if you recall, are a sum of our Heat 1 on the inside and the result of Heat 2 on the outside. So here we go. Going into our front row, we have our Heat winners. Once again, it's actually really messing it up. So I'm just not going to come back to the graphic here as it keeps giving me the original qualifying
results up there.
Yeah, it still has that. I thought it would kind of give me the actual gridding, but that doesn't. I think this one over here should probably give me. But there we go. Duncan Fall will be rolling off from the top position here with Kyle Benson, the second Heat winner. Will be rolling off from the front row. Third will go to Justin Raw, and Trevor Haley will be outside of row number 2. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer with a top 5 effort here to start the main event, with Michael Walls in the 6th spot. 7th will go to Mikey Neal, Charlotte race winner. Will be looking to try and get number 2 here tonight, with Kenneth Bueno starting inside the top 10. Alexander Schumacher will be rolling off from the top 10 as well, with AJ Green looking to try and turn his season around from 11th, Nate.
Row 6, we've got Nicholas Bauman. He sits second in points next to Ethan Fonseca Moreno, trying to sneak in the playoffs. Then it's Charlie Beyer alongside Curtis Kelly. Christopher Bishop alongside Tyler Murray in row 8. Keelan Belsha and Tony Kibbett in row 9. And in row 10, Gabe Cazzola and JJ Hill.
Our final two spots on the grid will be Chris Brogar and Jason Hastings. That'll be our 22-car field for the main event here tonight. And what did I say, Nate? We have the best, and we shall have them four abreast. This is for everybody on the KBueno Racing Network that is a part of this company that watches all of our shows and different channels across the series. This is for you, the fans. We enjoy bringing these shows to you, and we hope that this honor, this four-wide tribute, is for you to stick around and watch possibly some of the greatest racing we have on this channel. We'll have this moment of silence, four wide for the fans. Just special, isn't it, Nate, when you see these trucks and any dirt vehicles have the commemoration to go four wide like they did here.
That's one of the most beautiful sights in not just motorsports, in all of sports. I mean, these are behemoths, and it just goes to show you, you know, really what you've got in front of you, the awesome power of these mighty machines that sit on this half a mile of dirt in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, but it is going to be somewhere tonight for these drivers. They know what Knoxville means in the greater stands of racing prospects. The pace car, the pace truck will head to the safety of pit lane and leave the field in the hands of and the 38 of Kyle Benson. Green flag from Knoxville.
Nice and calm through turns 1 and 2.
A relatively clean start as Duncan Fall gets tapped from the rear, gets sideways a little bit off of turn number 4, but the caution flag waves here on the opening lap. Looks like trouble possibly for the 52 of Charlie Beyer, well off the pace behind the field. As timing and scoring is cycling out as the completion of lap number 1, possibly some more trouble for other drivers. We'll try and get you a replay of the incident to try and show what happened. And it was actually the 52 that pit lane started, so he was not where the problem arose on the start of the race. Looks like it was further back. As you see further trouble up ahead, Keelan Belsha actually gets spun around, makes contact with JJ Hill and Jason Hastings.
And this track gets small quick when there's a guy in front of you. See Keelan Belsha on the left side of your screen. Now actually look at Jason Hastings here. And it's kind of out of nowhere. The 21 ran into the 18, and Jason Hastings was to the inside of the 21. He was like, oh, what's the 21 turning down into me for? Well, there's a truck up there, and that's what happens here at such a small track, because it is a dirt track, but it's a short track as well. Not a lot of space and not a lot of time to react. We're on board with Keelan Belsha. This is coming out of turn number 2, so we're going to see what happened to him on entry to the corner, kind of on an island. And he takes off into the corner and just loops it. Of course, the onboard, we'll see if he had some help right there, but it's not too difficult to let that back end step around on you here. It's as loose as the truck already is, and you know, this is on dirt, so there's not a whole lot of grip in the first place. Really keep your truck planted into the ground.
Looks like he just lost it on his own there, Nate. We saw the onboard look from JJ Hill, and he had nobody play a role in him getting turned around, so it's just purely by the driver of the 18. And I'll tell you what, it was a struggle to even get a replay angle. Timing and scoring was going up and down sideways, and I was having a hard time pressing a consistent number as the green flag waves once again. A really good start for Duncan Fall this time now that he has proper control of it. Justin Rott will look to try and take second place away from Kyle Benson as we get through turns 1 and 2 clean this time around as well. As you look at the battle for fourth, that's Jurgensmeyer to the inside of Trevor Haley.
Nice little battle here in the mid-pack as Kyle Benson moves back to the inside of Justin Rott. He wants second place, isn't going to take it. Side by side is Haley and Jurgensmeyer down the front straightaway. And it's going to stay like that here for a little while. It may stay like that this whole race. It's going to be really, really tough for these guys to negotiate these spots.
A battle just outside the top 15, Chris Bishop and Tyler Murray. Chris Progar also in that mix as well. And there we go. This is the main cluster right here. Nate, we have a huge battle with Mikey Neal, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Michael Walls on the outside of it as well, AJ Green, Kenneth Bueno, all drivers as Neal will clip that mound that sits on the inside of the racetrack. Not really where you want to go for speed, but we'll see maybe some drivers try to clip it on the inside as we're completing lap number 4.
It's a whole different story from a week ago. The bump on the inside of the racetrack at Montreal is the curve. That's how you turn the truck a little bit better. This week, it's going to upset the truck, and it might send you flying if you're not careful. So certainly don't want to be up on that as Kenneth Bueno slugs it way down into turn number 3 to the inside of Mikey Neal. This kind of battling is going to rage on all night long.
And it could look so
Knoxville.
And it could look so different. You see Shuey gunning all the way to the top. It's probably not going to work its way in all the way until the end of this race. But without a doubt, you're going to see drivers going for it on the entry, others maybe going for it on the exit. And in a corner on its own, you can maybe see a truck gain or lose, I would say about 3 or 4 spots per corner. As we see here, the battle for second now, Benson to the inside of Roth.
Yeah, Rott loves that top lane. He's staying true to it. We saw him running it in the heat as well. I think he knows it's going to settle in and be the fastest way around as we get to the end of the night. So he just wants to be used to running it, and so he can be the best up there when it gets to be the fastest lane on the racetrack. And he's able to hold off Kyle Benson pretty good here.
And as the caution flag waves now for the second time in tonight's race, looks like trouble possibly for Chris Progar's machine, and he might not be alone. Looks like JJ Hill possibly in trouble as well. So we'll get a look here on our replays to see what brings out caution number 2 of the evening.
And not a great night so far for Chris Progar. He had the issues in his heat race. He's got some more issues here. You take a look at him on the exit of turn number 2. Going to turn 3. Oh, Charlie Byer sent it in way high, and the field kind of stacked up after he got into the 17. JJ Hill got a piece of it. Looked like the 49 just snuck through.
Yeah, it looks like the 52 just kind of got into the back of him, as here we now are on board with Charlie Byer, and he just kind of sends it in, and it's just barely gets into the 17, then in comes everybody else, and that results in the contact that sends him spinning. As we now sit under our second caution from tonight's race. I'll tell you what, a little bit more chaotic than what we saw in the heats, but that's to be expected in these types of situations. Once you get into the main, a couple of these guys trying to get the jitters out of their system, others maybe not quite so settling in.
Oh, the heat, it's all qualifying. You're just trying to set your spot. This is where the big bucks get paid. There's points on the line. There's a win on the line here in this main event. So these guys are all getting after it. Duncan Faw, he's done a good job controlling the race and controlling these restarts after starting from the pole. And it was that battle for second that raged behind him with Justin Rott and Kyle Benson. We'll see if that battle gets a chance to develop here. We're only through 8 laps. Remember, these caution laps don't count toward the total in the race, and there's no wave around. There's no free pass.
No wave rounds, no free pass. Caution laps do not count, so everything has to be earned out on the racetrack the good old-fashioned way. Timing and scoring is absolutely not having it tonight with the way the pit road is. That's going to make it difficult to capture some shots, but we're here with our race leader, Duncan Fall, who will lead once again off of turn number 4, and he'll launch And that's a pretty decent launch there for Justin Rott to hang on to his outside. We'll see how he fares into 1 and 2. Up to speed, it'll get Duncan Fall clear. No, he won't, because Justin Rott finds grip on the outside.
High wide and handsome, Fran. And he's pinching the 16 down at the center of the corner. The 76 is going to get a really good drive off here. He's going to clear him on the exit of turn 4. New leader, Justin Rott. Does Duncan Fall have anything to say down the inside?
He's been making that inside work, so don't hand it to Rott yet, who finds more grip off the corner, and he'll sail away from the top spot as there's some contact there between your leaders. And look at that mess back there. Trevor Haley going sideways in front of the pack. They're nearly 4 wide.
Everybody stacking up after an incredible fight for the lead over the course of a couple laps. There's Michael Walls. He's pushing the cushion all the way up the racetrack, trying to make it work on the outside. And look at how sideways these trucks get off the corner and they hang on to him. That is the hallmark of a fast truck on the dirt like this. Alexander Schumacher almost came all the way around at the center right there.
And this blimp view, I believe, Nate, it gives us the best perspective of all the racing that's going on this racetrack at once. It just gives us the better picture of what's going on throughout the field. You can see all the battles going on at once as Jurgensmeyer goes to the inside. You see Moreno tag the outside wall as well. It paints us the perfect picture to watch, but the battle for the lead has not quite finished up quite yet. There's the battle. Duncan Fall back on the inside.
It's, as you mentioned in the opening run of the race, it's, you know, opposite theories on the fastest way around this racetrack. You see the run that the 76 gets on the exit from the top side of the racetrack, but the inside is so much quicker through the center of the corner. There's Justin Rott. He's using the berm on the inside to turn the truck just a little bit more. Kind of similar to what we saw last week. I said we weren't going to see a whole lot of that. I definitely don't think it's the best way to get around. You can do it once or twice, but I feel like it'll get you if you do it too much.
It possibly could. But these drivers are pushing the limits right now, trying to find the grip on the racetrack, and this is a mess right here, all the way back behind the number 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. It is a cluster of trucks as the top 4 have really pulled away here, Nate. So it's all about this battle from 4th on back as Mikey Neal's driven his way up into the top 6 position, and now he looks to try and go around the outside of Jurgensmeyer.
This is a fast truck. He worked his way through the field in his heat race after an early accident. He's going to get himself moving here. He was the winner at Charlotte a couple of weeks ago in that fuel mileage thriller, and now he's working his way through the field pretty effectively, and he's got some clean racetrack in front of him to go hunt down the leaders. And now Jonathan Jurgensmeyer is under fire from Michael Walls as well. This is on board with Alexander Schumacher behind him. Oh, Jurg's way sideways. He caught the wall with the front end. Now he is under fire for another position.
That was big time contact with the outside wall. That could give him some kind of suspension damage as they're nearly 3 wide with Moreno on the inside. That's not exactly what Jurg needs to help his situation out. He'll try to hang on tough on the outside, but you see the contact from Shuey, the aggression from Moreno as well. They're going to be hounding this 00 for all it has over the next couple of laps. The lead battle has kind of simmered out. Duncan Fall's gotten out to about 6/10 as there's some more contact between Jurg and Shuey.
This is not the race that Jonathan Jurgensmeyer had in mind coming off the win a week ago north of the border. He was looking to just kind of stay consistent, maintain his points lead, but he's in the hornet's nest right now. He's going to have to start digging and get back clear of these guys, focus forward, and get back to the cars in front of him. He looks like he's clear of Alexander Schumacher, but it changes so quick because Shuey's going to get the run on the exit of the corner, and what looked like he was clear by 2 truck lengths at the apex of turns 3 and 4 is not so much.
And there's AJ Green now peeking to the inside of Justin Rott, who had a great restart, took the lead, and now AJ Green, who struggled in the heats, has found his way up into the 2nd spot. Kyle Benson not too far behind.
AJ Green, this is a guy, one of those guys we talked about pre-race that are looking at this race as an opportunity to jump in the standings. AJ Green coming into this race 18th in points, 19 back of the cut line. Benson throws it in and is sideways. Oh my goodness, he was able to save the truck somehow, some way, kept it clean. No one spun off of him.
Tried to set in there to gain 2 spots in one, but he'll lose another one to Mikey Neal, who moves his way up into the 4th spot for the time being, as the battle behind Jurgensmeyer continues to be a crazy battle. Moreno now gets to the inside for trying to go for the 7th spot. There's Curtis Kelly, this is really where all the intense action has been in the entirety of this main. It's really been just outside the top 5. Cazzola goes for a half spin on the front straightaway, but he saves it, but he'll lose four or five spots in the process.
He had an eventful heat race. Gabe Cazzola, he was really struggling to get a handle on that truck. He's looking to get those woes tightened back up. Looks like a couple of guys have gotten clear of this melee of cars. A little further back, Michael Walls, Mikey Neal, and now Ethan Fonseca Moreno is putting the pressure on Jonathan Jurgensmeyer.
And you saw it on that shot, Nate, the gap between Jurgensmeyer and the trucks in front of him. So clearly, this 00 struggling big time, and it is hurting the rest of the field, who is all kind of queued up behind, as Benson appears to be going for another kind of move, possibly, on Justin Rott, who's changed his lane and gone all the way to the outside. But these two quickly losing time to your race leaders, as Duncan Fall and AJ Green have pulled away by almost 2 seconds.
And more importantly, AJ Green has closed the gap down to Duncan Fall. You see him there, that was a much larger gap when Green took second place. And as I was saying before, Kyle Benson had sent it in. 19 points back of the cut line right now is AJ Green. A win's not going to get him into the playoffs, but I'll tell you what, a win's worth a lot more than 19 points. It'll certainly shoot you up the rankings pretty well, especially with some guys in front of him not showing up for the race tonight.
Absolutely. It won't guarantee him a spot, but it'll get him into a position where in 3 races he certainly will have a better than decent chance of qualifying his way in. And if we stay under the green flag as we pass the halfway point in this race, lap traffic will be a factor. They're catching up to the 21 truck, or actually the 18 truck of Keelan Belsha, to put him 1 lap down in this race. Belsha running in the 21st spot after a couple of early troubles. They navigate through cleanly for now, and you can see just the amount of time that they've put on to 3rd on back. These two could be facing a battle for the win here very shortly. Jurgensmeyer continues to hold up everybody behind him, but I'll say nicely, because it doesn't look like anybody really has the kind of pace to pass the 00. They were bunched up earlier, but now they've really gone single file and drifted all the way up to the wall.
That cushion has moved up really probably a truck length, if that, from the wall at the center of the corner. It's a little bit more space on entry and on exit. Ethan Fonseca Moreno sent it in, and now that's what was a bunch became single file, and now they're bunched up against Schumacher to the outside of Moreno.
And that's a great move by Schumacher, who just hung on to the outside while Moreno tried to diamond the exit, and it allowed him to get to the outside of the 077, but he'll have to give the bump to Moreno, who slides up in front of him on the exit of the corner as he's trying to do everything he can to battle with Jurgensmeyer, but it is just not doing anything for him right now. Battle for 4th, Mikey Neal to the inside of Kyle Benson for that spot, as they're both closing in on Justin Rott.
Yeah, Mikey Neal, I talked about him in his heat race. I talked about him just a moment ago, and he's now putting pressure. He wants to get up to the top 3. I think he has the pace in this truck. He might be someone that can go battle Green and Fall, but he needs to get through traffic. The laps click away really, really quick at Knoxville. Only 20 to go, and he's way high, riding the wall through turns 1 and 2.
Not exactly the most ideal line as he slams it. And now we have once again Jurgensmeyer and Moreno, but Moreno got to the outside this time off of 2. Jurgensmeyer will slide up the track. Moreno definitely testing his patience with this 00, and it's a very reminiscent of last week between these two. Moreno and Jurgensmeyer battling for that win at Montreal, but finally it's Moreno that gets past the 00 truck, probably about 20 laps too late for his liking. Curtis Kelly's found his way up into the top 10, up in the 9th right now. Tyler Murray up to the 11th spot as well. And the battle for the lead is heating up as they get past JJ Hill, who runs 19th. This is going to be one for the books. Approaching 17 laps to go. Green is there.
And he's parallel to him. He's going to get down to the inside. I think the 75 truck is faster. We'll see the difference in the lanes. Green throws it into turn number 1. Not quite a slide job. He's testing the bottom against Fobb on the outside. Faw's going to throw the crossover down the back straightaway. They're side by side again. And Faw is clear on corner entry. We'll see what kind of momentum the 75 can carry out of the exit.
You saw the crossover and how much more speed Faw was able to carry through the crossover, but Green hangs it on the outside. He'll take the spot away again, but he'll tag the outside wall. That's going to hurt his chances in this battle for the time being. He might get a run off this corner, but he certainly lost a little bit of track position to the 16. And you got to remember, Nate, neither of these drivers have won a race this season. As a matter of fact, 3 of your top 4 have not won a race yet this season, so we could be looking at possibly going 7 for 7 on different winners.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we touched on the 6 for 6 a week ago, but yeah, it is looking like a very possible 7 for 7 as AJ Green is ahead of the 16 now. Faw dives it back to the inside. These guys have been trading blows corner after corner, not even lap after lap. There's a slide job from Faw, the crossover from Green, 14 to go from Knoxville.
And all it takes is a mistake. We nearly saw one from the 75 when he got up to the outside wall, but got a fantastic exit with it. And that's what allowed him to take the lead in the first place. They both slammed the wall. Green a little bit more than the 16. Here comes Faw now, diving it back to the inside. And I gotta say, Nate, looking ahead of these two, they're going to encounter some heavy traffic. That's a 5-truck group in front of them. The first of which they'll catch is the number 88 of Nicholas Bauman. So there could be some lap traffic to face here in the final 13.
Absolutely going to be some lap traffic to face, and it'll all be a question of who can handle it the best, who can use the lap cars as a pick. Here's Fall once again to the inside, wrapping around that berm, but it's AJ Green ripping the cushion, and he is clear, and I think that might be the move of the race. As long as Green doesn't make a mistake, it's going to be really tough for Fall to get back to side by side with the 75 now that he's going to be able to take the preferred lane.
And it took all the way for the track to really age and for the groove to move up as high as it did for AJ Green to really make an impact as they go by the stricken 18 machine once again. But what's going to make it challenging is this lap traffic, because they're all running different lanes, so that forces the 75 to try something different, to have to keep up this pace and try to go for the win. Battle for third for the time being. Justin Rott hangs on with Kyle Benson. They're starting to exchange those spots, but up front it is still going to matter as AJ Green tries to extend his gap, but the traffic is going to play a role.
Duncan Faw getting real close to the wall right there in the center of turns 1 and 2. AJ Green is driving off into the sunset. He's able to negotiate with Nicholas Bauman, get that spot. And it's deceptive, this dirt track racing, because it almost looked there for a second as Duncan Faw was going to catch right up to the 75, but you get on the straightaway and he gets out to a few truck lengths. The 75 is very fast, and I think barring a mistake, he's going to have this one in hand. Of course, that is if we don't get a caution, and that's caught so many drivers out all season.
And approaching 8 laps to go, that's probably the last thing AJ Green wants to see is the yellow flag wave. And it looks like the track relatively is cleared up in front of him, so no more traffic. So it all comes down to him and his ability to keep a clean car. There's the caution flag now. Trouble, I believe, going all the way back. I'm not quite sure, as timing and scoring has not really been...
Looked like the 95 was sideways down the backstretch right in front of Green.
We'll have to double check, but that's going to really shake things up here for the final couple of laps. And we'll get a restart inside 10 laps to go. As here's a look at the incident. There's the number 95 machine. He's racing the 55 of Tony Kivitt. And it looks like he tries to diamond the corner, comes across the 55, and around goes the 95 of Gabe Cazzola. And yeah, that's gonna be only our third caution of the night, but one of our biggest.
Well, and you know what they say, cautions breed cautions. And we talked about during one of the heat races, what if a heat race ends in a 1-lap shootout? What if this race ends in a 1-lap shootout? They'll restart with, I believe it should be 7 to go, if my math is correct. I'm assuming that we would click away the lap that they were halfway through. If not, then it'll be 8 to go. But these trucks are going to be stacked up. There's guys that are going to be desperate for a position here. They're going to try throwing it in. Would not shock me to see another caution or 2 or 3. And we could end up getting that 1-lap, no-holds-barred battle that we had teased during Heat 1.
It's very possible. We'll have 7 to go when they do take the green. Lights are still on the pace truck, so there's still at least another lap. And we'll see what kind of restart Duncan Faw and the likes of the field can get on AJ Green. Green was clearly in a rhythm. He was comfortable running the lane he was doing so, but now with the field bunched up, is this all it takes for the 75 to crumble, or will he succeed? And it looks like it will be single file restarts here, Nate.
It'll be very interesting to see. One other note, that incident with the 95 and 55, that's the second one this year. Back at Nashville, the 95 of Cazzola got into the 55 of Kvyat. So perhaps a little bit of bad blood. We saw Kvyat not giving the 95 an inch. Race car drivers are kind of like elephants. They got a pretty long-term memory.
They do. But we'll see how much that long-term memory helps them now as the green flag waves. A good early jump for the 75, has an advantage into turn 1. Has a decent-sized gap on Duncanfall, who shoots the gap down the inside. He'll almost get there, but Green should have the run off the corner. Almost tags the outside wall, but Fall is a lot closer than he was. He'll dive another one down the inside.
He's gonna be trying slide job after slide job after slide job, just trying to get it to stick on the outside. He knows the crossover's coming. Green executes it perfectly there, but Faw's gonna throw everything he's got at him. Green is way high, almost jumping the cushion through 1 and 2.
And that could be all that the 16 needs to maintain a dog in this fight. And at one point, do you consider maybe using the truck a little bit? And they might just there, because there's almost contact, and you have to, if you're the 16 being on the inside, slow the momentum down. And there he goes. He'll clear the 75. Green nearly tags the wall. And Duncan Fall with a power move as the 75 hits the mound. So Duncan Fall with a great move to get back to the lead here late.
And now he's back in control, but it's definitely anything from over, because that 75 truck was so fast, and it took him a while to get going. But I don't know if it's because he's got a good long run truck or because he needed that cushion to get up there. He's been ripping the cushion with the best of them in this race, and you see it there. He's definitely got some pace, and he's going to be throwing those same haymakers at Faw as Faw was throwing at him.
It'll be 3 laps to go at the line. So we'll see if he has anything left for your race leaders. Ethan Fonseca Moreno is trying everything he can to improve on his top 5 effort here tonight after being stuck behind the 00 and 8 for a good portion of it. As most of your leaders are still tagging the outside wall, AJ Green has not let Duncan Fall go, approaching 2 laps to go.
Yeah, he is also not getting to the bottom. It makes me want to think here the 75 of Green is just trying to build momentum, and he's close. He's within a truck length. We'll see if he goes for it. No, he's going to stick to the top, sticking on the cushion. Fogg caught the wall just a little bit. We're going to have a great battle here. A lap and a half left from Knoxville.
Have we seen everything yet from AJ Green, who tags the outside wall? We saw Christopher Bishop stuck down low, approaching the white flag, but he pulled over and won't play a factor. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go from Knoxville Raceway. AJ Green, Duncan Fall are battling out for the top spot. The 16 looks to have a really good turns 1 and 2, and that could be all she wrote for the driver of the 16, who's had a great season so far. Points wise, AJ Green will not be there. Make it 7 for 7. Duncan Fall becomes the 7th different winner this season. He wins from Knoxville.
What a defense from Duncan Fall. The conversation was, will AJ Green throw the slide job on the last lap? Duncan Fall said, if you throw the slide job, you're going to run me over. I'm taking the bottom. You've got to pass me on the top and build a momentum. That was a great decision from Fall. And what a win from that 16. And he was fast all night long. He won his heat race, qualified well for his heat race. And he's going to drive it straight to victory lane.
He'll wait for the traffic to pass by on his outside before celebrating on this front stretch. And Duncan Fall, who's contending for that regular season standings running order, this is certainly going to help him claim that points lead, as now he'll do the burnouts here on the front straightaway, becoming the 7th different winner this season. How about that, Nate?
That's remarkable, isn't it? 7 races, 7 winners. I think you got to give kudos to the people that put together the schedule for this series, to put together something that really is able to showcase so many different skill sets. Yeah, we have similar guys fast every week, but just look at the discrepancy from a week ago to now. You mentioned it a little during the mid-race. The battle for the lead last week was the battle for 6th, I think, in the middle of this race, and it was not the first time we've seen something like that, so it's a great job to let different drivers with different skill sets show off what they've got.
And he'll park it in the virtual victory lane where it belongs for the number 16. And how about our hard charger for tonight, Nate Polite? You were talking about that battle between Juergensmeyer and Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Well, it's Ethan Fonseca Moreno that takes the hard charger award tonight, driving his way from 12th to 3rd. He grabs the final step of the podium. On that last lap, Moreno entered 6th. He got up to 3rd. So a really good drive from the 077 to capture his best result of this season. That's going to help him kind of get back into that points battle that he's been looking to try and be a part of after some really underperforming results that have not matched the kind of speed he has shown. But a really hard-fought effort from your hard charger, Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Let's go over our race results here from the Knoxville Raceway here on the KBueno Racing Network, where, as we said, race winner will be the number 16 of Duncan Fall. He is the winner from tonight's race. First win of the season for the driver of the 16, with AJ Green just coming up one spot short, up in second. Ethan Fonseca Moreno is able to take away the hard charger award from the 3rd spot, and then down in 4th is Justin Ra, who looked like he had a really strong truck. It's a top 5 effort for the driver of the 76. Mikey Neal with a really good top 5 effort. He'll finish in 5th. Kyle Benson fell down the order on that final lap down to 6th. Number 7 of Michael Walls will finish there. Number 7, Curtis Kelly with a top 10 effort. Another top 10 effort here for Kenneth Bueno, make it 3 in the last 4 races for the 117 with 9th here tonight. And Jonathan Juergensmeyer rounds out your top 10, Nate.
And in 11th, Tony Kivett. He had that incident with Gabe Cazola. Tyler Murray needed a nice little race for his point standings. He finishes 12th. Charlie Byer, he had some trouble today, but he came home in 13th. Trevor Haley, who came into this race in the 8th spot in points, finishes 14th. Gabe Cazola, 15th. Alexander Schumacher, who we talked to pre-race, finishes 16th. Nicholas Bauman was 2nd in points before today. He's going to drop a little bit. He finished 17th. Chris Progar, 18th, J.J. Hill, 19th, and rounding out the top 20, Christopher Bishop.
21st will go to Keelan Belsha. Was not the ideal night for the driver of the number 18 Toyota Tundra, with Jason Hastings rounding out our 22 truck field after the early troubles for the driver of the 49. Well, Nate, I'm excited to talk with our race winner here from Knoxville Raceway. So let's go down trackside with our winner from Knoxville, Duncan Fall. Congratulations on the race win. It's been a really good season for you so far, but that win, that was about the only thing that was missing for you, and it is here, and it comes at Knoxville. Talk us through what the emotions are like.
I really don't even know what to say. I knew going into this race I'd be really good because I love dirt. I love dirt racing, and I have a lot of experience here. So I knew I'd have a good chance. I didn't know if I'd be able. My biggest competition, in my opinion, was Justin, because I know in other leagues he's had a lot of dirt success. So no, it feels really good.
And we talked about a really good season from you so far. This will ultimately most likely give you that points lead once points are done and official by Keelan Belsha. But this is going to be another solid run to help your effort into making the playoffs. So as you now have 3 races remaining in the regular season battle, what are you eyeing now in the second half of the season? Are you looking to make that championship push? Are you trying to cement yourself as one of the favorites?
Definitely. I don't know if I'll be there because I don't have the speed like this everywhere else, but maybe I can continue this points lead going into the playoffs. I'm not sure if there's a bonus for it or anything. I'm not sure how the playoffs really work. But hopefully I can carry this momentum. Maybe get a win or 2 more by the end of the season.
I do believe there is a bonus. I'd have to double check on the rule book to see what the number is, but I believe there is. So you can definitely try to fight for that one. But Duncan, really good stuff from you lately here on this network. And with runs like this, I know this is dirt and not concrete or asphalt, but still, what does this do confidence-wise when you look at other series that you may run throughout the week? How does this help you propel forward in those?
It really does a lot. Whenever I first started, I didn't really do any leagues, and then being with Jurg and Justin, they invited me to run more leagues with them. And I didn't really have the confidence to run up front. You know, I was pretty scared every time I was there. But with each and every race, I'm getting closer and closer, and glad I could finally top it off here on KBRN.
And before we let you go, Duncan, from this win here from Knoxville, anybody you want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for you and your 16 team?
Shout out Four Wide Motorsports. That's my team. Shout out Justin, Jerg, and Micah. They were all on the call with me. Shout out Jaden. I see him in the chat. And Maggio and Ryan Bogey. They sent a message saying good wins. Shout out them. And Gabe for bringing out that final caution. That helped me win it.
That was a huge play by the 95, and congratulations again on your win here from Knoxville Raceway. Duncan, we hope to see you out next week from the Pocono Raceway.
Thank you. See you there.
That's Duncan Fall, driver the number 16 winner here from Knoxville, and he's very excited to go into these next handful of races. Let's go down one more position to our runner-up here from tonight. He is caught up with Nate Polite. AJ Green, you have him.
AJ, first of all, congrats on the second place finish tonight. Coming into this race, you were minus 19. It may not have been the win that you wanted, but can you relish a little bit in the points you gained tonight?
Oh yeah, the points are good. I like Knoxville. I think it was the first time the trucks went to Knoxville. I ran 20 or something races in officials that week for C Fixed, and just enjoyed it. And I didn't know how much it changed from the builds, because that was 3-4 builds ago. But hasn't changed. The top still rips. I still can't run the bottom. It's all fun.
So speaking of, you mentioned the top. I noticed it took until really the cushion pushed all the way up towards the wall was when you got to be the fastest tonight. Was that the difference maker on that longer run at the start of the race?
Oh yeah, I was, in that the mini warm up. I told Curtis, can we push that berm, the cushion up, because I run really well when the cushion is right at the wall. And when it eventually got there, I just got in the groove and eventually caught up to Duncan. But once we started battling and slide jobs were being made, I messed up a couple times and got P2 out of it.
And on that last lap, really the last run, the 16 was up on the fence and you were following his tire tracks the entire way around. Were you surprised that on the white flag lap he switched up and went to the bottom, almost seemingly to protect from the slide job?
No, I expected it, because, that's the last thing you want as the leader, is to get a car doing 20 miles per hour faster than you on the inside. And, if it goes wrong, both of you might get taken out. If it goes right, one of you is going to win. um, I just stuck with the outside because I was trying to protect second from third place. And no, I wasn't shocked that he went low.
And then before we let you go here, is there anyone that you wanted to shout out, thank for this run tonight?
Yeah, shout out to y'all in the booth. Kenneth, been on the league. Curtis Kelly, he ran. I think he came in about in qualifying, so I'm glad he got to run. And yeah, shout out to Duncan for winning. That was a fun battle.
Congratulations once again on the second place, AJ.
Thank you.
As AJ Green, your second place finisher here from Knoxville.
AJ Green, the runner-up here from tonight, unfortunately won't get the win, but he's definitely looking competitive with each passing week. And someone who's also looking more competitive each week is this 077 of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. After the tough starts, Ethan, it's been a lot better of runs the last couple of weeks. You had a shot at that win at Montreal, and tonight you were the hard charger going up from 12th to 3rd. Just talk us through what the truck was doing all night here from Knoxville.
Yeah, I don't really know what it was doing, honestly. This is my first time ever doing a dirt race in a, what do you call it, stock truck, whatever you call it. Um, yeah, it's just pretty much learning the whole race, kind of learning how the truck behavior and what lines to run and all that. So it's just kind of looking at everybody else, what they're doing, and kind of following it. But kind of learned that the bottom started to come back in just a little bit. At least before that caution came out, I saw Curtis was running the bottom, and it worked out for him to pass me, and I passed him back. But I just pretty much was like committed to the bottom on that last restart, and kind of lucked into getting P3 right there. So, glad I stuck with it, and yeah, definitely finished I needed to for the points.
Yeah, this result here from tonight's race, Ethan, is really going to help you. In fact, as of the latest standings provided by Keelan Belsha, you are now 2 points to the good over Tony Kivitt for that final spot in the playoffs. So this third place effort tonight has put you above the bubble going into the final 3 races. So with that in mind, what are some of the goals you're looking to try and accomplish when we go to these string of tracks of Pocono, Darlington, and Auto Club for their final 3 race stretch?
Yeah, I think I'm just points racing. I'm not really looking for any. I'm not really looking for wins like I would usually do. Like I wouldn't be too aggressive trying to go for it. Just trying to be safe here and go for some good points, some finishes at least, because earlier in the season couldn't get any of those. Just been crashing the whole time. So yeah, it's time to clean it up and come away with some solid finishes here.
It's been a better string of results for you, some better luck going in your direction. We'll see if that's the case here for the final couple runs. But before we let you go here tonight from Knoxville Raceway, Ethan, anybody you want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for your 077 truck?
Shout out Tesla for being on the hood, and shout out to whoever was in the call with me, and you guys for putting on a good broadcast, and um, also to Kenneth for making the schedule interesting here. So it was definitely it's a little weird seeing road course and dirt race back to back, but it makes it fun. So yeah, shout out to him on that.
That was his goal of making it fun and just having it enjoyable for both the drivers and the broadcast. Thank you for joining us here tonight, Ethan. Congratulations on your third place podium effort and the hard charger award from Knoxville Raceway. We hope to see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's Ethan Fonseca Moreno with his best finish of the season of third, Nate. And it has been a struggle for that 077. But if this is a sign of things to come, this field might want to start looking out for a possible bear watch. It could get very dangerous very quickly.
Ethan Fonseca Moreno, he's always going to be one of the better drivers whenever he steps into the sim rig. And he showed it here today. He proved who he was, and what a drive that was on the final restart. He was already a hard charger, pushing up towards the top 10, but then in those last 8 laps, he really made up most of that ground. Third place was really not in the cards when they took the green with 8 laps to go. A superhuman effort from Ethan Fonseca Moreno.
As of the points done by Keelan Belsha post race, we don't have the graphic with the new points, but we have now the updated SimRacer hub here, and Duncan Fall will indeed take over the points lead with his 6th top 10 of the season. The only driver to have a top 10 in every single race so far is the driver of the 16. He'll have a 9-point advantage over Justin Rotford, who is second in the standings. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer falls down to third, but it is really tight for your top 3. Then you have to go a little bit further back to find Nicholas Baumann, who does drop those couple of places like you mentioned. Kyle Benson moves up into the top 5. Schumacher drops a couple of spots, but it is still really close within that group of drivers. And like we mentioned, Mikey Neal, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, they're on that cut line right now. They're the first 2 in, or the last 2 in, and the first 2 out are now Tony Kivitt and AJ Green, who's really made an effort to close up into that cut line battle. So we'll see what that does going forward into the next couple of races. But behind AJ Green, notable figures that are just a handful of points out include Gabe Cazzola, Craig Parks, Tyler Murray, Colin Forrester, who was not here tonight, and Craig Lautenschlager, who also wasn't here tonight. So that could be a devastating outcome for the drivers of the 71 and 78.
Yeah, it was big time shakeup here on the bottom end of the standings. A little further down there, Kenneth Bueno is 18th. He sits 21 points out of the playoffs, so he actually gained 2 points on the cut line this race. So there were a couple of big gainers, but the playoff picture gets clearer and clearer with each passing week, and especially with now the bottom end of that being Ethan Fonseca Moreno, it makes it a lot tougher for anybody to jump over that cut line.
And these are the races that we have remaining. We'll be at the Pocono Raceway next week, September 29th, at the same time as tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, for Tricky Triangle Racing with these trucks. That'll be something to watch here on the KBueno Racing Network before we head over to Darlington on October 6th, followed by the regular season finale on October 13th from the Auto Club Raceway. And just before you know it, Nate, we'll be sitting here at the end of October, and we'll be at Chicagoland talking playoffs, that 5-race run where whoever has the most points through those 5 races will be crowned champion on December 1st from the Homestead Miami Speedway. So still a lot left to come, and I'll tell you what, those are probably some of the 3 most difficult tracks to put as the final 3 races of this stretch.
It's the tricky triangle for a reason at Pocono. It's gonna lend itself to a whole different cast of characters than any other track we go to. That's a week away from us. And then Darlington, we were just there, you and I, for the SAT Cup Series. We saw how that caught out pretty much every single playoff driver in that series. It's going to be more of the same. It's the track too tough to tame. Then after that, Auto Club. What a beautiful racetrack to go and finish the regular season at. I'm a little biased. That is my home track. I was fortunate enough to get to the final Cup race there and the final Xfinity race there in 2023, and it's nice to see that one live on in the sim.
All I'll say is that you got to see Kyle Busch win the final Auto Club race. I am very jealous. I did get to see him win a championship, so all that's something I'll always cherish. But nonetheless, it is still going to be an excellent final 3 races to watch here on the KBueno Racing Network. And before we close off our side here from tonight, why not? Because we can. Why not talk to the owner himself, who was the reason why this whole schedule came apart as to how it happened. So let's talk with Kenneth Bueno here. And Kenneth, you had a really solid run here from the dirt tonight, and you were able to put on a really decent performance and come away with a top 10. That's now your 3rd top 10 in the last 4 races. So things seem to be going your way. Talk us through what the night was like for you.
Yeah, it started off tough. I don't know what it was. We just couldn't get rotation in the first 10 to 15 laps, but it was all about going up to the top. That's where the fastest lane was. That's where all the dirt was getting kicked up. So try to make that work. We fell back to the maybe 13th-ish, and then maybe at lap 30 or so, I start saying, okay, maybe we can go back to the bottom since nobody's running the bottom. And I just found so much more speed there. The truck handled much better. It overall just felt better pace-wise, and I started making up those spots. But yeah, good race. I mean, I honestly wish it went a little longer. It was so much fun just racing all the guys, and yeah, I think everyone put on a fantastic show.
And like I said, we've seen a couple of better runs from you over the past couple of weeks. So I think you're starting to get the hang of these trucks and these racetracks. So now that we're past this first half of the schedule of this series, and we start going into these last couple of races before the playoffs, and obviously the playoff races, what have you been able to make as the league owner of the series of the results of these first 7 races now that we have them in the books?
They've been awesome. I mean, do you mean the drivers overall, or for my sake?
Just the overall league aspect of it.
I think it's great. I mean, the competition is at all-time high. I mean, you don't get 7 different winners in a season without having a really great field to make that happen. So I'm really pleased. I knew going in, and I think Charlie and Keelan and yourself, you guys also knew that, from the driver base that we got from signups, we knew we were going to get good drivers, and we knew the talent was there, and they've always been there. I was curious to see how it would be in the truck, since I've really never seen a lot of the drivers in this field use the trucks on iRacing as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, they've taken it so well, and we've seen so many great races, from strategy to an all-out brawl on the racetrack like we did in those final few laps with Duncan getting the win. So I'm pleased. I think the product has been great. I think in some cases we can clean things up, but I think as we progress through the season, the racing has gotten so much better.
And now I'll shift the focus over to you. Like I said, 3 top 10s in the last 4 races. You're 21 points below the cut line going into Pocono for this final 3-leg stretch. How do you fare? How do you think you fare in this playoff battle to try and get into one of those final spots on points?
I don't know. I don't really think I'm putting myself to the standard of making the playoffs. So the next 3 are going to be really tough. I'm not great at Pocono. I think maybe Darlington could be one of my better shots, but honestly, I'm just racing in it for fun. I think I took myself out of the equation for playoffs a little while ago, especially after Charlotte. So, I guess it's just trying to continue that consistency. The good runs have been there. The pace has been there, at least to be there. Not to win races outright, but to definitely be in contention for some solid runs. So honestly, just keep running. I've been enjoying not worrying about the points as much and just running to run and to have as much fun as I physically can. And over the last few, I definitely have, even though it's come with those challenges. So not really thinking playoffs, but by the time Darlington Auto Club comes around, if we have a chance, then I'll think about it. But for now, I'm just going to continue to ride the wave that I'm putting down, which is just finish the races, be consistent, and just enjoy it.
And I got to ask you, is this still something you're not used to, this swap of sorts that we do?
Man, bro, when everyone was hyping me up, I was like, bro, you guys are putting me on too high of a pedestal. That's why the reason why I commentate is because I'm not a good driver. At least I'm not a great driver. So, that's why I choose that profession, because I know I'm not as high of a level competitor as some of these guys, especially in this series. But yeah, I mean, it does feel weird because I think the last time I ran competitively was IQSSL, but usually that's a fun league for us friends. So yeah, I don't race competitively at all. You barely see me in officials, and if it is, it's just a rare circumstance. So it does feel weird. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, we're gonna get used to it because I love covering this series. I think you and everybody on the admin team, including myself, have done a really great job of setting this up, and it has really played out really successfully. So I can't wait to see what we have now in store for the second half of the season. Before we let you go, Kenneth, anybody you want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for your 117 team?
Yeah, of course. Got to thank you and Nate for carrying everything in the booth. You guys have been awesome. I've listened back to the shows. The chemistry is there, and you guys are killing it on the broadcast side. So I'm very proud of you guys for that. Got to thank Keelan, Charlie, JJ, all the hard work they put in because honestly, the work that goes into this league, a lot of it doesn't even fall on my shoulders. A lot of it's on Keelan, Charlie, and they've done a fantastic job at helping this become a seamless league for everyone. And we've had a really good tenure in our first year. Got to thank KBRN, Charlie by Photography. I think that's it. USA Roller Coasters. I'm gonna shout that out. Yeah, I'm gonna shout that out. So just a huge shout out to everybody who ran tonight as well.
You also forgot the team name that you own.
Yes, KBueno Racing. Got to thank them for pretty good truck tonight. I mean, not bad. I mean, Ethan, Duncan. I mean, they got the better trucks. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little jealous, but we got to share the wealth, Francisco. That's what we got to do. We got to give it to the drivers we know that are gonna do really well with it. So,
Don't
had a
worry.
good truck though tonight.
Don't worry, I got a special piece for you that's coming at Darlington, so you just stay in
no.
store. Yeah. You'll be fine.
I'm a little scared.
It's gonna feel like a rocket ship. Don't worry. Thank you so much for joining us here in the booth, Kenneth, and we'll be excited to watch you continue this season. And I can't wait for Indianapolis on Wednesday.
Thank you, man. It's gonna be fun. Thank you guys, and appreciate the time.
That's Kenneth Bueno finishing in the top 10 tonight here from Knoxville Raceway. Really excited. Like I said, he's always going to downplay his ability, but Kenneth Bueno is certainly a really clean and good race car driver. And when he has a good day, which it's yet to show up, but when he has a good day, he can be competitive. So we'll see that 117 ultimately play a factor in a race later on this season. Any final comments you want to say from our show here tonight from Knoxville, Nate?
Keeping an eye on that 117 at Darlington. I'm gonna circle that date on the calendar. I might just after that conversation that the two of you just had right then and there. We said we were gonna give them a show tonight, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I think that they got a show. It was a phenomenal battle between Duncan Thaw and AJ Green, two guys that hadn't gotten to victory lane, of course, both hunting that first win this year. Duncan Thaw was the one who brought it home, 7 for 7. Let's say we make it 8 for 8 at the Tricky Triangle.
We don't want to jinx it, but we'll see what the Tricky Triangle has in store for us next week here on the KBueno Racing Network. For more coverage of racing here on the KBueno Racing Network, be sure to join us Wednesday night from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where Kenneth Bueno, Charlie Beyer, and Keelan Belsha will have the coverage for you starting 8:30 p.m. Eastern Wednesday night, where I'll be on the racetrack from the Brickyard, hoping to try and capture a win there after a solid run last week from Nashville. And be sure to join us also on Thursday night for some SAC Cup Series playoff action after Darlington last week. We'll be heading up north to New Hampshire for the second race of the playoffs, so we'll see what the SAC Cup Series action will be able to do there. And of course, next Monday night, be sure to join us from the Pocono Raceway right here with Nate Polite and myself, Francisco Bacallao, on the call for that one. Thank you to everybody that was a part of making this happen here from the Knoxville Raceway, for all the league admins that are a part of it. Keelan Belsha, Charlie Beyer, JJ Hill, Eli Comerford, Kenneth Bueno. Thank you to everybody that helps make this possible from the driver's side of things. Congratulations on Duncan Fall for a race win to make it a 7th different winner on the schedule so far. We'll can't wait to show up to Pocono next week, where we'll see who takes the crown from there to try and steal the spotlight. Thank you, and have a good night, and so long from the Knoxville Raceway. Thank you for joining Nate Polite and I. Francisco Bacallao will be saying good night, and we'll see you next time.